The material vinyl or PVC or polyvinyl chloride, that's the chemical name for it, is a synthetic material that was used quite a bit in shoe soles and heels. We're talking mostly 1960s, 1970s. Nowadays it's mostly been replaced by different rubber mixtures and thermoplastic rubber, mainly for the reason that rubber and TPR are much more slip resistant. PVC has the downside of becoming hard, brittle and a little slippery when it's very cold. So in winter PVC soles are maybe not the best idea. So what's the reason for that, or what is PVC? PVC is, like I said, a synthetic material. PVC in its natural form is hard and compact. Now, how do you turn it into a sole, something you can walk on, a flexible material like this? You add a so-called plasticizer or plastifier, which makes it more flexible, which turns that rigid material into a flexible material, and then you can use it to make soles and other items. That is also the problem both in bonding it, and that is the problem with cold temperatures, because when the temperature gets too cold, that effect subsides and the material becomes hard and brittle again. When it gets too hot, specifically when sanding this material or when otherwise heating it, it can sweat out the plastifier, and that is something that if you're bonding this material, you need to deal with. Now, first of all, how do you recognize PVC? Because as I said, not so common anymore, and many times rubbers, modern rubbers and TR are used in its place. So how do you differentiate rubber, TR and PVC? Very simple. PVC melts when you grind it. Yeah, that's this plasticizer effect. So what happens if you put this on a sanding belt? It will become hot very quickly, and this heat melts it, but it melts it in chunks. Whole chunks fall off, little balls form, roll up and drip down or fall down. Unlike TPU, which is another material that is used nowadays very often in shoe soles, TPU melts into a liquid and PVC melts into chunks and rips off in chunks. So if it does that, you can be pretty sure it's PVC. It also gets a little slick, a little oily when you do that. That's also a good hint. That is the plasticizer, plastifier migrating to the surface, and that is actually something you need to get off before you can bond it reliably. So the process to work with PVC: grind it, clean it with solvent, definitely clean it with solvent to get the plasticizer off. And then you need to use the right adhesive. And the right adhesive in this case has to be one that is resistant to this plasticizer. You might get a decent bond if you cleaned it properly with a regular contact adhesive, but this will not last. That is the problem, and that is usually what happens. Somebody bonds a PVC sole, they didn't recognize it, they didn't use the correct adhesive, the customer comes back after a few days and the shoe has separated. Simply because more plasticizer has migrated to the surface, has broken down the adhesive, which wasn't resistant to it, and therefore the bond has failed. What adhesives can be used here? Generally, polyurethane-based adhesives like our Syntic Total can be used very well, but that has the issue of not working on EVA and generally being a little more complicated to work with than a contact cement. The best option, and actually the easiest option for you, is to use either our Multicol or Col de Cologne universal adhesives. That's what those products were developed for in the first place, to also bond PVC. They do a lot more, but that is still one thing they really shine at. They work very well on PVC, assuming it's been ground, sanded and cleaned properly. If you're bonding PVC to PVC, there's certain applications where you need to do that. You can reinforce the adhesive even more by adding our Harden Resin. If you bond PVC to some EVA, for instance, or to leather, it's not necessary. But if you bond PVC to PVC, you're attacking the adhesive with plasticizer from both sides. So in that case, it is a lot safer to also use the hardener. More on that in the hardener video, of course, but just to sum this up, 5 to 10%, mix it well, use the adhesive within a slightly shortened open time, and work as normal. Not a problem at all.